couple of days in Montreal with Scenic's Eastern Explorer tour leaves you more fascinated by this part of the world than ever before. And as Montreal's indelible flavour of old and new, innovative and bizarre lingers, the intrigue builds as we arrive here in the city affectionately known as La Vieille Capitale. To attempt to explain Quebec City without a bit of history would be like attempting to eat flake without a minimum of chips. It just can't be done. Suffice to say, since being permanently settled back in 1608, this city has been French, then English, then French, then English, then French, then English, while always being part of Canada. You with me? First business district, first hospital, first church built of stone, first girls' school, first Anglican church in North America, all here. Conveniently located within the only walled city on the continent north of Mexico. But if history isn't the kind of thing that inspires your drool, I'll tell you, the knockout splendour of this place will. This city's splendour could hardly be more evident than here in the Lower Town. A splendour even local guide Neil Schumacher continues to be enthralled by. Not short of places of great beauty around here, are you?
Oh, this street especially. It was recently voted the most beautiful street in Canada, and I can't disagree. It is beautiful this time of year in the summertime. It's beautiful especially in the winter time. Picture fresh snow on the ground, Christmas trees, Christmas lights strung across the way. It's spectacular.
Although the old town of Quebec City lies conveniently within the city walls, there's a steep incline between the two areas known as Lower and Upper Town. A $2 funicular ride saves any aerobic ordeal. Historically, was there a difference between the Lower Town and here on the Upper Town?
Absolutely. Traditionally, there was a difference between the upper and the lower. The upper classes lived in the upper town, the lower classes in the lower town. The people who loaded the ships lived in the lower town. The people who owned the ships lived in the upper town.
From Upper Town's prized position overlooking the St. Lawrence River and appearing every bit as if it were the castle of a mythical god is Le Chateau Frontenac. And although I'm usually sceptical of such pronouncements, when you look as grand as this, you could hardly deny Chateau Frontenac's claim as the most photographed hotel in the world. Guests are assured a Chateau Frontenac room at this scenic special stay, but one such as this may require you to wrestle the likes of rumoured previous guests Paul McCartney or Leonardo DiCaprio out of the bed. It doesn't take long to realise that this is a city of paradox. It's old, but it's elegant. It's a city, but it's a village. And although it lacks the air-sniffing, poodle-clipping, hand-on-hipping, confident strut and tut-tut of its cousins back in gay Paris, make no mistake, Quebec City is as French as an escargot in a Renault. The place looks French, it sounds French, it feels French. And as a culinary tour with scenic guide and local food specialist, the very French-Canadian Jocelyn Below reveals, it tastes French too. This is a traditional crepe?
Yeah, made with buckwheat flour, like in Brittany. If you go to Brittany, those crepes, they will call them galettes.
Galette, yeah, I've heard of galette.
And this is the house, the restaurant specialty.
But this is not all that they serve here. They do very fancy crepes, don't they?
Yeah, you can have duck confit, scallop, prosciutto, all kind of crepes. And it's always served with a salad like this.
Even the quintessential Canadian staple is given a French name. Les délices de l'érable stock every kind of maple product imaginable. Maple popcorn, maple jelly, fudge, pork and chicken rub, mustard. They've even got maple syrup, various kinds. Oh yeah, maple butter, pure maple.
Yes.
And maple tea. And that's not too sweet, which is pleasing. Having tried the very French and now the very Canadian, I could no longer avoid the dish invented in Quebec. Poutine not only combines cheese curds with gravy, but dares to do so on top of French fries. If you reckon the name's a bit scary, it's probably the least of your worries. I was going to say mine looks like cardiac arrest, but I think you're going to beat me to hospital.
Oh, yes.
So you would say that this is where the French cuisine and the Canadian cuisine collides?
Yes. When we became British, people started to have gravy, which was not the case in French, period. So now it's a mix of French, British, that became Canadian cuisine.
Which became poutine.
Poutine.
I wasn't surprised to learn that this curious concoction, referred to by late-night drinkers as a beer sponge, is largely mispronounced. Here, where it's predominantly French, it's called poutine. That hardly helps it go down.